I'm not quite too sure what's happening here, but I thought this was a women's march. Oh my gosh, that's so toxic masculine. He's doing it better than women. He's taking attention from women. How could he? How could he?
That dude?
Yeah. I thought this was a women's march.
This episode of Lives Matter, we head to the 2019 Women's March in Los Angeles. So a lot of women, they love women's rights, and so do I, but I kind of have a bit of a different take on it. There are staggering and absolute shocking statistics and numbers of women that are human trafficked across the southern border. I personally believe that if we built a wall at the southern border, it would save some lives, and it would actually cause some human trafficking enterprises to be put out of business. I decided to go undercover as a male feminist for the day. So don't mind the hat, don't mind the funky, dumb-looking costume. I'm still me, but I want people to see how these women react to what I'm saying, even though I'm dressed like them. Let's see if some of these women actually care about women that are being trafficked at the southern border. And not just women, but little girls as well, sex trafficked into prostitution against their own will. Let's see what happens.
So what are we doing out here today? What do you guys have in your signs?
This is vote, women voting. So we are standing for Latinas and women voting, and no to the wall.
Gotcha. What about you?
Same, no to the fucking wall and impeaching Trump.
Gotcha.
Same, impeach Trump and no to the wall.
So you guys think the border wall is immoral, evil, racist?
Very that, but I think we should waste more money. Well, not waste, but
Waste?
use the money that they want to use for the wall for something else. Why can't they help it lay for the teachers so we can get the teachers back in the classrooms? I feel like that's more important than a wall. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Honestly.
Can I share with you why I'm out here marching for women?
Yes.
Do you know how many human beings are human trafficked into the United States annually, a year?
I'm sure a lot more than we could probably imagine.
20,000.
That's a lot.
80% are women. Did you know that?
No.
Those are Latinas.
I'm sure they are.
Do you know 70% of these Latinas are sex trafficked into the United States for the purpose of sexual exploitation, prostitution, sex against their will? Those are Latinas.
Yeah, most are.
I'm out here for them.
Me too. And thank you for that. Because
you guys-
as a Latina, I appreciate that.
Did you guys know that there was, as of this month, January 2019, the DOJ literally prosecuted these individuals called the Rendon Reyes Crime Sex Trafficking Enterprise. They were charged for the crimes of luring in girls as young as 14-year-old Latina little girls into the United States against their will for the purpose of prostitution, sex against their will. They physically assaulted them, beat them, and forced them to have abortions against their will. That's not pro-choice at all. Against their will. Some girls as young as 14 years of age were lured into the United States, not by Americans, by illegal immigrants in this country. Isn't that insane?
Yeah, it is. It really is. They're taken away from their homes, and that's not fair because their families will never ever see them again. Yeah, and I feel like as females, we run more risk everywhere, every day.
Want to hear something disgusting? These are all crimes that were committed. The Department of Justice system literally came after these guys. Some of these girls were forced to perform at least 45 sex acts a night, against their will, and didn't make a dime. You know where all the money went? They're being pimped. All the money went straight back over the southern border, straight back into Mexico, and this crime enterprise willingly admitted that they did this by taking advantage of the weak southern border immigration system of the United States of America. What do you think about that?
They're taking advantage.
Do you care about those Latina little girls and women?
Of course. That could be my cousins. Those could be... That could be anybody from my family, from her family too. So that's crazy because it's...
So I just want to give you guys one more thing to think about. I'm out here fighting for the rights of these Latina women and these young Latina little girls that are being forced against their will. This is not asylum.
No.
They're being forced against their will to come into the U.S. and have sex with dirty, disgusting men. God knows where these men have been. I'm out here fighting for them, and here's why. I believe if we build a wall, it could potentially save the lives of some of these young Latina little girls and some of these Latina women. Here's why. Because in 2006, before the advent of Donald Trump in politics, before he even came near politics, during the Bush administration in 2006, they approved to build a wall in Yuma County in Arizona at the southern border wall. It was approved. It was 20 feet high. And after they built the wall, crime went down 96%, including human trafficking. It saved lives. So I believe if we build a wall at the southern border, I truly believe that we would save young Latina lives. We would save Latina women lives. I believe if we built a wall at the southern border, we would not see this disgusting, heinous, and evil crimes being committed in the United States of America any longer. That's why I'm out here. That's why I'm marching. That's why I'm wearing this funny hat. So what do you guys think about that?
I think everybody has their own opinions, and we should stand up for what we believe in. And
So do you believe that a border wall is still immoral, even though factually it will save lives? Even young Latinas that you claim to care about?
it's in between, honestly. It's for
In
people.
between. So being forced against your will to have sex with 45 different men a night is in between?
Coming over here for to get away from it. What if
And
they're
asylum, you come legally.
You know how long that's gonna take? Some people
expensive
don't have
too.
time. People don't have
The United States provides it.
How long is the wait list for that, though? On
Could be 6 months, could be a year, could be a few years, but it can be done.
a few years, but do you think?
And I agree with you. We could reform immigration to make it faster, to vet people. I agree with you on that. But what I'm saying today is I disagree with you when you say that a border wall is immoral, when potentially and factually speaking, it could save young Latina little girls' lives and Latina women's lives. I believe that because that's factually proven at the southern border in 2006 in Yuma County in Arizona. So do you believe it's still immoral, even though a border wall could save the lives of young women and Latina women at the southern border?
I don't think that's the only reason, though. I feel like it's used for anything. Drugs still get in. They use it. It doesn't matter if there's a wall or not. People are still gonna get in. They're gonna get out. If you think
That's not factually true. I just gave you a statistic that when a wall was built at the southern border in Arizona in 2006, crime went down 96%. That's a fact.
but that's in Arizona.
So is it immoral to build a wall to protect young Latina lives from being sex trafficked into the United States and forced to have sex with men against their will? Would it be immoral to build a wall to put an end to that, or slice it right down the middle?
No,
What do you think?
I don't know. I think we shouldn't build it. I personally feel like I don't think that's gonna change my mind. I don't think we should build it.
So the facts. So these little girls being sex trafficked, you don't care.
Well, I do care. It's still it's gonna happen.
So even though factually a wall put an end to crime, 96%, you still don't think that it could change anything?
Probably not.
Probably not?
No.
Okay. What about you?
no, I just think it doesn't. I don't know if you've ever watched the movie Trade, but it's about what you're here for. And they bring in the girls from anywhere in the country, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be from the border, from the southern border, or anything like that. So
Well, 20,000 people coming across the southern border is a lot of people.
well,
And I think they deserve to be marched for today.
yeah, they do.
I'm out here marching for those women's lives.
Yeah, and I feel like everybody has their own purpose here.
Gotcha. So would you guys agree, would you maybe be open to the possibility that maybe a wall could possibly save some of these young Latina girls' lives?
Yeah, if I really get into it and I learn more about it. I actually didn't know all the facts that you told me, so now that's interesting, and I want to know more about it.
Awesome. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I didn't know any of these facts. You never hear these type of facts. You usually hear about the negative, other things. So I don't know. Like her, maybe I'll look into it. But for now, I don't think we should build it.
So what do you got? What are we out here for? Why are you out here? I see you got a sign.
Yeah, we're
What does it say?
in solidarity with Afro-Indigenous women because she's Chicana, I'm Afro-Indigenous, and she's Black, and we're here to support our community and to bring awareness to the issues that we have as women of color, and also to the issues that we have in this country as women of color, as far as policies and just different things that are affecting us. Because here there's a lot of transphobia. Obviously the pussy hats, that's transphobic. This is kind of to go against that. Sisters, not sisters. Where are you? And we're here for Black women's rights as well. And yeah, pretty much that's it.
Sweet, that's awesome. Well, I'm here for women's rights too, and I just wanted to get your opinion on what do you think about the border wall at the southern border?
Well, we feel as though, because we're both, she's actually half Central American as well as being Chicana, and I'm Central American as well. And we just feel that the border wall is a Central American issue and not a Mexican issue. And we need more representation of the Central American immigrants because it's not, and it's also an indigenous issue. Yeah, it's not known.
So do you think the border wall is wrong?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You think it's immoral?
Yes, of course.
Why? Can I get an answer from her?
Okay, so we need to focus on the aspects of why they're leaving their country in the first place, rather than like why they want to come here. It's immoral because they're human beings. I mean, how I see it is we have the funds, we have the tools and materials to help them out, so I don't see why we shouldn't, you know?
Like why we shouldn't assist them financially? Okay, got you. What do you think about the wall? Do you think it's racist?
No, I just think it's stupid because Trump has said that it's because of disease and all this other stuff, but it's like that was here before anything else, and this country was built on immigrants coming. So that's why I'm like, I don't get how you can be so hypocritical about that. So that's it. Yeah.
Well, I kind of have like a little bit of different view. I'm literally here to support women's rights. And do you know how many people are human trafficked across the southern border annually a year? It's 20,000. And you know 80% of those individuals and human beings are actually women. And 70% of those women are sex trafficked across the southern border for the purpose of sexual exploitation, prostitution. And I don't know if you know this, but 50% of these human beings being trafficked over the southern border are minors and underage little girls. So, I mean, I'm here for women's rights, and I truly believe that the border wall would actually be a benefit to save women's lives that are being sex trafficked over the southern border, because these are little girls and their lives are being violated over the southern border. And I don't know if you know this, but there's this crime family called the Hernandez crime family that was literally convicted this month federally by the DOJ, and they willingly admitted that they took advantage of the weakness of the southern border immigration system. And you know what they did? They forced little girls as young as 14 years of age. They lured them over the southern border into prostitution, forced abortions, threatened their families, and sexually and physically abused them. And they made it very clear that they were as young as 14 years of age. And these little girls were forced to perform sex acts, as many as 45 a night. A night, sex acts, without any compensation. And all of the money that they're making off of prostitution, the coyotes in the United States are illegal immigrants. All of the money that they make, they funnel it straight back across the southern border, straight back into Mexico. So do you think that those women's lives matter as well?
Those women's lives do matter, but we also...
It's a different issue, though. I mean, it's not exactly different.
It's not a different issue.
Okay, but
It's a border wall issue.
the thing is, though, we're talking about immigrants. So, sex trafficking is a different issue. It happens everywhere. If we're really like,
80% of women are being sex trafficked across the southern border.
whether it's gonna happen.
No, but we started the conversation with the wall. I'm talking about the wall on the southern border. Okay, so let's keep it on that. I'm not talking about the rest of the world. I'm talking about the southern border. So is it immoral to say that we should focus on saving little girls' lives at the southern border by building a wall?
If you want to save little girls' lives, you should start with thinking about why those people do that. Why do those people?
Why they are sex trafficked?
Listen. At the same time, you need to think about the other people that are coming across as well.
That's why I'm here.
Listen, they're not only people that are being sex trafficked, but families coming over here.
80% of human beings trafficked into the United States are women. That is a fact.
Okay, trafficked women. Yes, you brought up the border wall. We're talking about the border wall.
Yes.
I'm saying that.
I believe that the border wall will protect and save lives.
You believe that the border wall will protect and save lives. Okay, they're going to get in either way, regardless.
Here's a statistic.
Women are going to get in at either way because those predatory men are going to come for them either way. It's going to happen either way. They're taking advantage of their innocence. They're taking advantage of their situation, their poverty. That's the issue. That's the issue at hand, the poverty. That's the issue.
Well, can I give you a fact?
Give me a fact.
In 2006, under the Bush administration, they were approved a 20-foot border wall in Yuma County in Arizona. After the border wall was implemented and it was put up and it was built, crime went down 96% in Arizona, including human trafficking.
Okay, you're saying that, but aren't you still saying that there's 80% of women being trafficked here? So obviously they found another way.
Because that's just in Yuma County. That's not the whole. That's not the whole border.
Another way to get in. Obviously, if they were going to do that,
No.
they would do it either way.
Crime went down at that southern border wall.
Yeah,
Yes.
but they went around it.
Because there's no walls anywhere else.
So they found another way. They're going to find another way.
You're basically saying that the wall is good to protect the little girls.
That's statistically proven. Yes.
Okay, Trump is a racist.
The president. I don't know where you're like ranked at, but the president wants this wall for what? I don't even know what it's like. I don't keep up with this stuff, but now you make me want to keep up with it since you're saying all this stuff. But
So you don't think these little girls matter?
I didn't say that.
Little girls matter?
That's why I'm here. That's why I'm wearing a hat.
Can we talk? Can we talk? That's a pussy hat. That's transphobic. A lot of these little girls.
I'm here for women's rights.
Can we talk? Can we talk?
I'm talking.
Listen. Okay, if you care about these women, if you care about these girls, you should give them money. You should give their families money. You should go over there and go try to help them. If you really care about the sex trafficked women, you would go over there and help them out of poverty.
I would actually be willing. Can I finish? I would actually be willing to fund a border wall to put an end that is statistically proven to put an end to crime coming through the southern border. I would be willing to fund a wall for that.
Okay, so-
I believe that is more strategic and that is more profitable for human lives to be saved.
Okay, so you're saying that, what do you think about sex work? Wait, what do you think about sex work? How about that? Let's start with that.
Sex work? Like prostitution?
Okay, so he's anti-sex worker, you're a swerve. He's a swerve.
What do you mean by
Okay, so swerves are feminists that are sex worker exclusionary. So you're a swerve and you believe that prostitution's wrong, right? Immoral, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's
I think little girls being forced to perform more than 45 sex acts a night is evil.
Those are not sex workers that are.
talking about grown women who
Yeah,
don't have the
yeah.
choice to be sex workers because it's how they make their money.
So you think prostitution is right?
Yes.
Yes, we're pro-sex worker. We're pro-sex
Grown
worker.
woman and it's your choice. Yes, you can do whatever you want with your body. If that's how you're making your money, then yes.
Okay, well that's another conversation. I'm talking about illegal immigrants.
Back to what we're
But I'm
with
talking
sex
about.
work and trafficking.
Okay, if sex work is legal, then these little girls won't need to be trafficked over here because women that are willing to do the work will be.
So you know what would happen if it was legal, right?
It's legal in many places.
You know what would happen if we legalized prostitution? You know what would happen, right?
What happened?
All these little girls would be legally safe to come into this country and be prostituted.
Legally safe to be prostitutes.
You just said you wanted legalized prostitution.
Legalizing prostitution would make it so that they have to be of a certain age. There would have to be limitations.
They're already breaking the law. There are already limitations, and it's happening anyways.
Because sex work is illegal, so they're capitalizing off the fact that these men already know what they're doing. They already know that they're.
So if they were to make it legal, you're saying that would stop crime?
No, I'm not saying it would stop.
That's what you just said.
I'm saying that it would stop the exploitation of young girls.
That's not what would happen. They would take advantage. If you made prostitution legal,
Prostitution was legal, then these women would be able to enjoy their jobs with benefits and rights. And these little girls wouldn't be trafficked over here because it wouldn't be illegal
Why?
anymore. Because there would be a age limit. If there was an age limit, you think they're going to be...
so there's an age limit to prostitution?
Of course there would be an age limit to prostitution. Sex workers...
legal?
Yeah, sex workers are 18 and over, 21 and over. Sex workers are grown women.
So you think if we legalize prostitution, that somehow criminals are just going to stop importing little girls?
There's going to be more conversation about what we can do to stop the trafficking of young girls. That's what it's going to do. There's going to be more policy to fix.
So you don't think that it's moral to build a wall to save lives?
I don't think it's moral to build a wall, no, because I'm pro-immigrant, I'm pro-indigenous women, and I'm pro-black.
Even though it would be it's a fact that lives would be saved in the area of prostitution and forced prostitution, that a wall has proven to work already in the past, you don't think that that's right?
In the area of forced prostitution, I feel like there needs to be other conversation because those women should be saved in the first place from where they're at. The problem stems from where they are in this, where they're coming from and how these men are taking advantage of them.
In Honduras, a woman cannot walk down the street because she is at risk to either get raped, murdered, or just anything.
Exactly.
That's why they are coming over here.
And they're being forcefully kidnapped. So if that human trafficking were to stop there, if we were to stop going over there to steal their resources and actually go there to help them and save their women, then they wouldn't have to come over here. There would be less crime if we would step in that way rather than building a border wall to stop people coming for asylum. Because there's other people as well. These people are still gonna find a way. Criminals always find a way, regardless. If
agree.
they don't want to do this, they're gonna do this. Yeah.
They're still gonna find a way
Yeah, but it's already been statistically proven that when you build a wall at the southern border in Yuma County in Arizona, crime went down 96%.
But mixing.
What's that?
I support race mixing.
I can't hear you.
I support race mixing.
Okay.
I support race mixing.
Okay, I love you.
Well, you can stop race mixing. Race mixing is going to come for you. Race mixing is coming.
So, this lady is a straight racist. Right there. She's saying F Europe and F me because I'm race mixing, because I'm Mexican. So she's cussing me out, following me everywhere. She's a racist. She keeps cussing me out because I'm half Mexican, half white, supposedly, she thinks. That's a racist. That's a racist. That's a real racist. What are we doing out here today? Why are you marching?
We are marching for the people who marched for me, like, long ago.
Gotcha.
Yes.
For women's rights, obviously.
Yes.
Do you believe all women matter or just some women?
All women.
All women?
Doesn't matter if you're cis, straight, or cis is straight, but yeah, doesn't matter if you're gay, no matter.
Yeah. So which women's rights in particular kind of like matter to you a little bit more right now? There's obviously all kinds of issues, but which ones matter to you most?
The immigrant women, the ones who are, earlier they were talking about how they're in the camps for immigrants and the wall, and the government shut down, people are not getting paid, and just, I think that's not right. So yeah.
Dude, that's why I'm out here too, to be honest.
The immigrants?
Yeah. What do you think about Trump's border wall? Do you think it's racist and immoral and evil?
Yes, I think it's ridiculous. You know, he talks a lot about how like immigrants, you know, aren't right, and this nation was built on immigrants, and like, it's just not right.
Awesome. So I'm out here marching for immigrant women and little girls.
Yes.
Coming from Mexico. But I have a little bit of different take on it.
Alright.
Do you know how many human beings are human trafficked into the United States annually every year?
I'm not sure about the number, but I know it's a lot.
It's about 20,000 humans.
20,000, yeah.
And did you know that 80% are women and in some cases children, little girls?
Yeah, I'd say that.
A huge number. And did you know that 70% of that are for sexual exploitation purposes such as forced prostitution?
Yep.
It's pretty high.
Yeah, very.
Yeah, so I don't know if you know this, but as of January 2019, the Rendon Reyes crime sex trafficking enterprise was convicted by the DOJ. This was a couple weeks ago in January 2019. They were convicted of the crimes of abducting little girls as young as 14 years of age from Mexico into the U.S. and to forcing them into forced prostitution and forcing them into forced abortions. That's not pro-choice. And to forcing them and beating them physically and physically assaulting them and threatening their families if they didn't comply. Some girls as young as 14 years of age were sexually abducted and forced to perform at least 45 sex acts a night. A night. These are federal crimes that they have been convicted by the DOJ.
And they're not getting caught.
No, they were caught.
Oh, they were caught.
They were
Okay.
caught. They've been charged. These are little girls that are abducted. And you know who they're abducted by? Not Americans. They're called coyotes. They're illegal immigrants that come over the southern border and they lure these little girls over.
All right.
These are a lot of women that are being forced into this stuff. So I personally believe, and here's why. I personally believe if we were to build a border wall, that we would actually save women's lives and save little girls' lives. Immigrants, women, immigrant little girls at the southern border. You want to know why?
Why?
Because this crime enterprise literally admitted that they took advantage of the weak United States southern border immigration system. It means that the southern border is so weak that they took advantage of it by importing and forcing these girls against their will into the country to perform sex acts. And get this, all the money that was made, they were being pimped. The girls didn't see a dime. You know where all the money went? It goes straight back into Mexico across the southern border, literally. It's very sad. Listen, so I believe if we build a southern border, it'll save lives, women lives, and little girls' lives. Here's why. Because in 2006, before Donald Trump, okay, during the Bush administration, they built a wall that was 20 feet high in Yuma County in Arizona. After they built the wall, crime went down 96%, including human trafficking. That's a fact. That's a statistic in 2006. So I personally believe if we were to build a wall at the southern border, it would cut in half the crime and maybe even more of women and little girls being sex trafficked into the United States against their will. I don't think that's immoral. I believe that's heroic, and I believe that's something that should be done. What do you think?
I actually had no idea about that, and I love that, you could educate me on that. Like, I think that's like a really like smart move for the wall, and like I feel like just we need to negotiate that wall and just like see, come to a compromise for like just all of it.
So has your mind been changed a little bit?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not biased in what I'm telling you. I just care about women, and I care about little girls, and I care about their lives. And if that were my daughter, if that were you, I would be standing here speaking up for you because I love people. And so would you say that your mind has been changed regarding the border wall? Do you think, listen, would you be open to building the wall if you knew that it would save these little girls and save these women from these atrocious and evil things?
I'd say maybe, yeah.
I'm not quite too sure what's happening here, but I thought this was a women's march. Oh my gosh, that's so toxic masculine. He's doing it better than women. He's taking attention from women. How could he? How could he? Yeah. I thought this was a women's march. So what are we doing out here today?
We're marching for women's rights.
All women or just American women?
All women.
Got it. What about you?
All women too.
Same thing. So which women's rights do you believe mean the most to you? I mean, you can't put like in order, but I guess specifically, like what kind of like sticks out to you the most that you would like to see change for women?
Probably pro-choice, allowing women to do whatever they want with their bodies.
Got it. What about you?
Same thing. I think that's a big issue because people think that they have a say on what our bodies can do, and that's just not the case.
What about women that are forced to have sex against their will? How do you feel about that?
Absolutely not. That's not.
It's rape, right?
No, that's like sex trafficking.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you feel about that?
Definitely not okay. That has to be changed.
What do you guys think about the border wall? Donald Trump wants to build the wall. Do you think it's immoral? Do you think it's racist? Do you think it's evil? What do you think about it?
I think it's stupid. It's just dividing the world even more than it already is. We should be united at this point.
What do you think?
It's going backwards. Like, why would you separate us like that? Like a physical separation and divide. We work better together, and we've seen it. We have power in numbers, and I don't see why that should be even a choice to build a wall.
So Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer obviously say that building a wall is immoral, right? Would you guys agree with that?
Absolutely.
Would you agree with it?
Definitely.
You mentioned sex trafficking. Do you know how many human beings are human trafficked into the United States annually?
How many? I'm not sure.
20,000. Have you ever seen 20,000 people in one group?
No.
It's a lot of people. Do you know about 80% of those human beings? Do you know what they are?
What?
Women.
Yeah.
And 70% of those sex trafficking women that are being brought into the U.S. are solely for the purpose of sexual exploitation, sex trafficking.
That's crazy.
Isn't that insane? You want to hear something crazy? As of this month, January 2019, this is mind-blowing. As of this month, the DOJ prosecuted the Hernandez Reyes crime enterprise, human trafficking enterprise. They willfully admitted, and they were convicted felons, that they were sex trafficking and human trafficking women over the southern border. They literally admitted that they took advantage of the weak immigration system at the southern border. Some girls were as young as 14 years of age, minors that were brought into the United States against their will. And you know who received them in the United States? Illegal immigrants, not Americans. And you know what began to happen? They were forced to have abortions. That's not pro-choice. They were forced, and they were beaten, sexually assaulted, physically assaulted, and they themselves were forced into prostitution, and they were threatened their lives and their families' lives if they did not comply and come to the United States. And some of them were actually lured into relationships and promised marriages in the U.S. in order for these pimps. They're called coyotes, illegal immigrants in the U.S. that bring these girls into the U.S. Some of these girls, as young as 14 years of age, were forced to commit and perform at least 45 sex acts a night. A night.
That's not right.
And without any compensation. You know where all the money went? All the money that were made by the pimps, by these little girls, were funneled straight back over the southern border, straight back into Mexico. What do you think about that?
That's awful. That's not right. That's why we march. That's why we're here.
Evil, don't you think?
That's very immoral, and it has to be stopped.
Now, this is why I'm out here today, for these women, illegal, if you want to call them, or immigrant, whatever, these women that are coming from foreign countries and being forced against their will to have sex with dirty, disgusting men against their will. I'm out here marching for them today. And I personally believe, I'm going to give you a statistic, okay? I believe that we should build the wall to save these little girls' lives, to save these women's lives. I personally believe if we built a wall, it would put a stop to crime, or at least it would put a dent in the crime. And here's why. I don't just say this emotionally. I say this factually. Because in 2006, way before the advent of Donald Trump in politics, in 2006, under the Bush administration, they approved a border wall that was 20 feet high to be built at the Arizona southern border in Yuma County. After time went on, after they built the wall, crime went down 96%. 96%. These are facts, including human trafficking. So I personally believe, not emotionally, I personally believe if we build a wall, that women's lives will be saved, immigrant women's lives will be saved, immigrant children's lives will be saved if we built a border wall at the southern border across the entire United States. That's why I'm marching today, and that's why I'm here. That's why I'm wearing a funny hat. That's why I believe that these women's lives matters, and these little girls. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, that's interesting, but yeah, I don't know.
What do you think?
I mean, I'd have to look into it, but I see your point.
These are, just to give you sites,
Right.
the Department of Justice, these are stats, the United States immigration system stats, and you can find that story about the Rendon Reyes crime family. That's the DOJ came after them. That's all over mainstream news. So you can go fact check me, okay? But what do you think about that? If it's true, what do you think about that?
It's very interesting because I never thought of it from that kind of view before, that perspective of what's the benefit of building that wall, but I definitely should look into it.
So would you say that, let's just take Trump out of the picture. Just take Donald Trump out of it. Would you say that if that's true, that possibly building a wall might save lives? Women, little girls.
I think it might save lives, but it might ruin lives also for immigrants trying to get into the country.
Even though you can legally come into the country.
Yeah.
My wife, her father came into the country legally. One of my best friends married an illegal immigrant, or an immigrant, whatever you want to say, someone from a foreign country. She did it the right way. Took her like 6 months to a year, and she's here in the country.
Yeah, but sometimes that stuff takes longer than a year. It takes more than years, and that's just a lot of time.
So even though we would save about a huge percentage of women being forced against their will to have sex with dirty, disgusting men in the United States, and some little girls, you still wouldn't be for a border wall?
Well, like I said, there's pros and cons to it. I have to look more into it.
So it's not a pro that these little girls and women be saved?
That's a con.
That's a con, right?
Yeah.
But you would consider it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. What about you?
Definitely would consider it as well. Like,
Would you say that, I'm sorry, finish.
just have to look into that research, like I was saying, just so I can, because I want to fully understand the situation before I can say, oh, yeah, I'm for it or I'm against it.
So if you go look up all these stats, would you say that maybe, just maybe, a border wall isn't immoral?
Possibly. I can't deny that that would probably be a possibility, that a lot of girls would be saved that way.
There. Well, we can't just be happy with hearing these people say the word impeachment and say the word whatever, but nothing gets done in the meantime. And how many people are being rounded up?
What are we doing here today? What do you guys have on your signs?
Well, my sign says, "Don't you forget who you are and where you stand in the struggle." That's a song, lyric from Miss Lauryn Hill. And so I was inspired to put this on my poster because, I mean, we're all here for a different cause, but we're all here together to stand together. And although we may not all share the same differences, we do share the same goal, and that's to fight through it. And
Sweet. What about you?
So mine says, "You have power," and then on the back I wrote, "You have a voice." And then I've been having people just sign. I've been asking random people to write about what they feel empowered when they use their voice, because I found that ever since I found power in my voice, I've had a lot more confidence in the issues that I support. So I want to help people find their voice.
Totally agree. I commend you guys for what you guys are doing out here, especially as young people. We need more young people speaking out for what they believe. What do you guys? What is you guys' view on the border wall and Donald Trump?
well, I think shutting out people who helped build this country is unfair, and it doesn't serve justice to all that they have done for us.
What do you think?
especially in a place that's considered to be the land of the free, that was raised on people migrating here. It just is not fair, especially coming from parents who came from that country. I can understand some of the logistics behind it, but I could not stand behind.
So would you guys say that a border wall is immoral or evil or racist?
I would say it's a little bit inhumane to divide us. I mean, who are you to decide who comes where and when and how and why?
What about you?
It's definitely divisive. It kind of creates this sort of stigma that these people from other countries are bringing in some kind of negativity and some kind of evil. So yeah, I think it promotes evil.
So you think a border wall promotes evil?
I think it promotes the idea of it. I'm not saying that it is evil or that he's coming from an evil place, but I think that it promotes more of a hatred.
Gotcha. I just wanted to kind of share why I'm out here for women's rights. I believe all women matter, every race, color, creed, wherever you're coming from. I believe every woman matters. That's why I'm wearing the hat. That's why I'm out here. That's why I'm marching. Yeah, I'm out here because I believe, especially immigrants, I believe women, female immigrants, I believe their lives matter as well. Even children, little girls, little Latina girls all over the world. Do you know how many human beings are trafficked into the United States annually every year?
I can't give you.
It's 20,000. It's a lot of people. 20,000 people. And did you know that 80% of that 20,000 are women?
I'm not surprised.
And did you know that 70% of the 80% of women that are trafficked are for sexual exploitation purposes, prostitution, forced sex labor?
Did not know that.
Yeah, I just want to give you another one. As of this month, January 2019, there was a huge crime enterprise, the Rendon Reyes crime sex trafficking enterprise by the DOJ. They were convicted of the federal crimes of abducting little girls, Latina girls, immigrants, from Mexico into the United States as young as 14 years of age, into forced prostitution, forced abortions, which isn't pro-choice, and into forced physical abuse. They would physically abuse them, literally. Some girls as young as 14 years. This isn't asylum. They were abducted into the United States, not by Americans. You know by who? They're called coyotes, illegal immigrants that come into the United States and pimp women and little girls, make money off of them in the U.S. illegally. Some girls as young as 14 years of age were forced to perform sex acts against their will at least 45 times a night. A night. Can you imagine living like that?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. And you want to know what this crime enterprise admitted and what they were convicted for? Taking advantage of the weak immigration United States system at the southern border. It means they took advantage of how weak the southern border is to abduct these little girls and sexually molest them up to 45 times a night against their will. All the money, listen, they were pimped. All the money that was made off the prostitution, they didn't see a dime of it. You know where all the money went? It went straight back into Mexico to the cartels and the pimps in Mexico through the southern border. So I'm out here because I believe if we were to build a wall at the southern border, that it would potentially save the lives of little girls, immigrants, and women, because the statistics are so high. And let me give you one more. In 2006, listen, before the advent of Donald Trump and him wanting to build the wall, in 2006, under the Bush administration, they built a 20-foot wall in Yuma County at the Arizona southern border wall. They built it at the southern border. They built it, and over time, after they built the wall, crime went down 96%, including human trafficking. Lives were saved because of a wall that was built at the southern border. That was just a small little location in Yuma County. So I personally believe, I'm out here marching. I don't believe a border wall is immoral. I don't believe it's evil. On the contrary, statistically speaking, I believe a border wall would save young Latina little girls' lives and Latina women's lives that are being sex trafficked against their will against the southern border. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I appreciate your, empathy for the girls who are in danger. I think that is a big, issue. And, I mean, as an advocate for, people who, need to come out of that and feel for that, I feel like I'm not so aware as like what I can do, you know? So I mean, like, you definitely shed some light on me for sure, and I appreciate your point of view.
What do you think?
I respect where you're coming from. I respect research and facts all day. So, like, I don't know. I'm not a politician. I don't know all the logistics behind
And
it.
these are Department of Justice. These are State Department statistics, and also immigration system statistics that are United States government statistics. They're unbiased. They're across the plane.
Totally believe that. So then, my question is, how would you? Because human trafficking within our country is a huge problem. So how would you? I understand that would eliminate the problem from the border, but what are we supposed to do within our own community where it's happening probably much at a higher rate than that? I can't.
And that's another conversation. But I'm just talking about the women that are being forced against their will. This isn't asylum. This isn't wanting to come to the U.S. This is being forced to come to the U.S. for the purpose of prostitution against your will. I mean, would you be willing to do that?
I mean, of course not.
No, right? I mean, so let me ask the question again. Just remove Donald Trump. Just remove Trump from the picture, okay? Because there are other politicians, even left-leaning, that have advocated for a border wall in the past, literally on record. So it's not just a Trump thing. Would you be willing for a wall to be built if you knew that it would potentially save thousands of little girls and women's lives coming through the southern border? Would you be willing?
I feel like I would be willing as long as I knew the girls were safe. But other than that, I feel like there's so many other like prime factors that go into building.
Well, they would be more safe because these crime enterprises have willingly come out and stated that they literally take advantage of the weakness of the southern border. So that would no longer be something that they could use to gain weight. Unless they started dropping people from planes, but you know it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Much less likely for it to happen. It would eliminate much of the tragedies that occur. So
would you say this kind of changes your mind on the wall a little more? If it could potentially save women and little girls' lives?
You know, I would have to say yes. I can't say no. I would hate. My family comes from that. So imagine if that were our grandma or something. That would be very messed up. I feel like I would have to know so much more about the wall because there's lots of other logistics. I respect that you told us, you spoke your voice and told us about this little anecdote. It did have an impact on me.
Awesome. What about you? Does it change your mind a little bit or open up your mind or enlighten you a little more, or what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I didn't really see that side of the argument before because, I mean, most of the things that you see like online are from, you know, like conservative leftists who think that like, oh, like they're bringing in drugs and blah, blah, blah. But like they never talked about, you know, the issues that are happening like with human trafficking and all that. So yeah, it definitely opened my mind.
Awesome.
Brought in like actual facts and not just like, oh, they're gang lords and stuff.
An impact when you actually, you know, presented the stats.